I've been talking a lot about pain recently if you have watched my stories. But today I'm going to speak about something what might be sitting just underneath the surface of pain. And, you know, that thing is resentment. And we don't always realise it's there within us, within our energy system, within our subconscious. And resentment isn't a great word, is it? We don't want to go around admitting that often. But resentment doesn't mean that you're ungrateful, and it doesn't mean that you're a bad person whatsoever. It means that you've been through a life experience where something happened and it wasn't okay. It didn't feel okay. And maybe you didn't fully process that which didn't feel okay. And it can come from things like your boundaries being crossed, when you are feeling unheard, when you're trying to express something but you're being misunderstood in some way. And it can come from big life transitions and big life events as well. I've written some notes here, so I'm just going to move this up. So one of the things, one of the big life transitions that I'll speak about is for women and for men as well, but they step into fatherhood, but when we step into motherhood. So like when you step into motherhood for the first time, we're handed this baby, but I don't think anyone really prepares us for what's about to happen. And that there is going to be a grieving period for your old life, because that old life has changed, the landscape of it has changed so dramatically. And people don't tell us really that how much our identity is going to shift. And even though that is joyful and wanted more often than not, still any shift comes with a grieving process. And people don't explain the tiredness. Like, you think you've known tiredness, but if you're the one up feeding the baby every night, because you're breastfeeding, that can build resentment, and that isn't because you aren't happy with your situation and you don't love your child. It's unpreparedness, isn't it? It's not being quite prepared for that emotional shift that you go through. And so we can build like resentments in that area of our life. It can also come from, and I'll resonate with anyone who feels this. It can come from birth experiences where you didn't feel listened to, where things weren't explained, where maybe you didn't understand the consequences or even your own choices. It can come from, resentments can be built from medical situations. They can be built from school situations, in relationship situations, anywhere where you felt misunderstood, misheard, misinformed even. And often what we do is push it down and just get on with it. Because we have to, don't we? in many ways. But that emotion of what we experienced, of how we felt, it doesn't just disappear. It sits in your nervous system and it sits in your subconscious, and over time that unprocessed resentment can show up in guardedness, in apprehension. It can show up in pain. It can show up in many different ways. Let me just move here. So it can show up in many different ways. And so this is why I love EFT so much, because I sat there tapping last night. I'm doing this for myself here. Sometimes in the moment we can't process things, because if we do, we feel like we might not be able to we might come to our knees and we might not be able to get back up again. And we can't afford to do that sometimes. So we push it down, and we might have the opportunity to come back to that 6 months later if we're feeling better. We might only have the opportunity to actually look at that with clarity 10 years later. So I've been doing this for myself, and this is why I love EFT so much. We don't, when I work with people, I'm not just dealing with pain and physical symptoms. I'm exploring what might be underneath that physical pain, and if there's anything sitting under the surface that hasn't been recognised. And we do that in a way that feels manageable, not needing to go into huge emotion, not needing to go telling stories in depth and going over things. We do it in a really manageable way. We can just use one word. We can use no words if we don't need to. Sorry, the sunlight is on my little notes here and I keep losing it. So, I've been doing this on myself and going back just to small things, small resentments through the past. Well, since childbirth, since I first experienced childbirth. And it's like it shifts a weight that has been holding you back, an invisible weight, because you don't know sometimes why you're being held back. But these resentments are like holding a bag of rocks and trying to move forward with them. And you take one step forward and then you're like, oh, why is this coming back up again? When we work on these resentments, it's like emptying the bag of rocks one by one by one. And it just, I can't explain the liberation it brings, because it's not always obvious, but you just feel lighter and you just start speaking more of your truth in a compassionate way, not in a negative way. It's liberating. So if you feel a resonance with this, and if you like personal development, I am going to be running my EFT level 1 in a brand new way, starting on the 12th of March, which is a Thursday, 9:45 till 3. And I'll be holding your hand through this, working with you. It'll all be done so safely. I'll be doing theory, I'll be doing demonstrations. I'll be asking people if they want to step up. You don't have to do that. And then people will be working in groups overseen by me, and it will bring so much relief that you didn't even know you needed. So if that's something you're interested, get in touch. I'm still banned from Facebook. I can't respond to any messages. I can't even reply to comments on my posts. So I will put my link here, and if you press that link, you'll enter onto my email list, and then you'll be able to email me. Thanks for listening.